in the Indian of Purim, and we were on page Tes Zion and over there. Well, let me get it up here. There it is. And previously we had learned in the beginning, up above in the top, we're on actually there's a letter base in the middle of the Pirish. That's where we're at. Previously it said at the time of the base of Migdash that the Zun were panim b'panim. Here it says, Sha'al yedei tefilosenu, through our prayers, anu gormin the yichud enukim zer anpin panim b'panim. B'seder chazara zun la'amod panim b'panim na'asa b'berchos avos. That takes place in Berchos Avos, he says. Let's see where I go. Berchos Avos v'kein ku chaseder. So this is what the actual order is. He says like this. Ad ba'ah v'chaneknasin the b'zer anpin b'bunakol parts of anuk ba'ach. So you're building up that ach till you get to ba'av. We know that there is a arba mises based in there. And then as they're still standing ach ba'ach b'tebes ba'ava, when you get to that word, yotzin call the mochim b'zer anpin, all the mochim come out of zer anpin. Dormita. So this is what happens there. This is the concept of the deep sleep, which is also known as Tardema Vashena. He said the Kavan Mochim Haim Kiyusu Shal Zer Anpin, since that's really the life force of Zer Anpin. And his Talkusan Nofa Babachin Shena, so therefore when they leave, they comes into the category of going to sleep. Boz Na'as and Malchus and the Sira, so then when that happens is that Malchus does the Sira, Shanuk and the Seraph Bezer Anpin Vomeda Bifnei Atzmo, and she is standing by herself. Will be a reunion who shakeva kasher zun ondim ach ba'ach hem kavoyachu bekosel echad ameshutosh the shneim. So some of this information we know already. Now when they come around and they're going to stand face to face, they have to remove her. She has to become removed to get to that position. And then to build her up and to stand her, I guess, in his front, or put her up upright. The same thing happened in Brias Olam, where there were two Partsufim that were built, as we have this metaphor, in order to be able to separate them. Tardema is to put the man to remove his moching. And it says over there that you take one of his ribs. Commotion is bar b'chemshech drush over drasha Rosh Hashanah. There's a lot more to be said about that as he goes along. So it should be im tomar. So if you say like this, ma inin hadarmita the nesirach zanuk min zer anpin. What's pshat over there? That the tshuva hiki bizman she'omdim zun ach ba'ah kanuk mekabelas as the shefa shalochash v'hamochim shetzrichim lo al yedei zer anpin. He's an intermediary for her menekev sheba'ach rei hachazer shalom. V'esa dormita shemistalkim hamochim b'zer anpin. So when they leave zer anpin, and her lights really still have not left Zer Anpin. Let me say, Enu Mashpia Law Od, she doesn't get any more from Zer Anpin. But in the Seraph Zer Anpin, she gets it directly from Ima. And then she could come around and she could return back to be panim b'panim. He says she returns to his face side, and be able to look at his face. And he adds this, she's not embarrassed mizer anpen. Why? It's not that she's subservient to him anymore. Again, when you get to those words, and then she starts receiving the mochin upon him. So then after that, the mochin leave her. v'ramochim lekane b'zecha v'mesha kol tefillah, and through the course of the time, as there anbin nosin la mochim ashaychim la derech upon him, she gets everything from his face. He shines his face on her. When you get the Sem Shalom, he said, Mizdavim Zun B'Kol B'Kol. So now that they're looking at each other, they're facing each other, and she is now independent in full height. When you get the Sem Shalom, there's a Yichud. Nimse Sheba'ava B'Kol Shemei Ba'ava from Ba'ava B'Kol Tefilas Amina, all the Tefilas Amina, B'La'acha Tefilah Gimel showers, and then even after that time, 3 hours. Omdim Zun Panim B'Panim, all this time the Zun are face to face. Ba'achakach Chosen Amod Ach Ba'ach, and then after that they come back to stand Ach Ba'ach Mokodem at Tefillah, at Tefillah Rabah, Sha'achozer B'Kol Choseder Binyan, parts of Hanuk, Dormita, Nesira, and all that. So you said, what time do we have until today? 15?
Yeah, and then it's going to get earlier.
Okay, you mean every day it's going to get earlier?
Every 2 days, let's say.
Okay, so you'll let me know the time. So I'm not keeping track. Let's look at just a little bit more here before I think I'll try to get over the Sifra Tzniuta. So that was the Hagdama, and we're on number Daled. So we'll read number Daled down below. That's what I'll do. He says, "V'hinei nizbar v'tzleinu v'drosh nuk nizer anpin u'v'inyan miut ha'yireach," which is simply similar. Let's see. Ki b'chol zaman shel hagalus omdim zun ach ba'ach. Then you see that zun are now standing back to back. That's our situation now. That is called Yemei Hachol. That's during the weekdays. Lulei b'shas tefillah v'shavasas v'giyotza b'zez. Besides the fact that there are other times, commotion is bar sham, which could be explained over there. He said, "B'mam shachay b'beis hamikdash kayim," as the base of mikdash is standing. Amduch nuk, as we said, v'nuk tadir panim b'panim v'vachal b'shas galus omdim zun b'yamosachol ach ba'ach melvad, with exception. B'shas tefillah, when tefillos when they're davening. V'chei b'shabbatos she'omdim panim b'panim, also on Shabbos. There is panim b'panim. V'chei kiyotze b'zera b'chane b'yamim tovim, that is on the yamim tovim. So let's look over here, and where is number Gimel? There is a number Gimel. He says, "Motion is boyer sham." So he wants to talk about what does he mean when he says "kiyotze b'zeh." He says, "I am tiv tiv." Look at the tiv. Should be arnik avanas rab ba'omracha kiyotze b'zeh. What did he say there? Hi, the b'yamim tovim. He's talking about what's the kiyotze b'zeh is like yamim tovim. That's what the tiv writes. B'chein kasa b'shem and sasam. Avol the chayret tzarach ian, but you really have to look into it. Shahayrecha b'yamim tovim enu zun dur yamim tovim enu hazun hazeh she'aner b'davra melach b'mozachol v'chavasos. This is not the same zone that we're talking about. The shezecha for parts of b'yamim, v'zeh parts of hazmanim. Now, exactly the meanings of those phrases have not been. We've not really reached the real depth of what it means to have a parts of a yom, which understands the weekdays, and then parts of a zmanim. What is actually the parts of a zmanim, other than the fact it deals with holidays, but what in fact is the cycle that leads you to that? V'od she'inya the yomim tovim she'hem panim b'panim v'lochad is boyer sham. It doesn't explain that that's actually the case. V'ulai evshach of the boyer, so maybe it's possible to explain. When he says the phrase kiyotze b'zeh, he says this could be referring to the Hasidim b'rishonim shehoyashohim sha'achas, where they were sitting after davening for an hour. Shagam b'shah zu hazun omnim panim b'panim, because even after davening, zun is still panim b'panim. But motion is bar b'shino tefilos. We have that. Now let's see. Let me just look at this next part. If I wanted to get to 2 minutes more, but it's very short, so we won't. So let's read this little part, because it just goes to the next page. So he says, He says a number Dalet, a number Hey. He said, "V'hinig hasher rotzim lachzor panim bepanim." When they want to go back to the position panim bepanim, so shetachnim bechidas hafolos dormita al zer anpin. So in order for this to happen, that has to happen. The darkness. Now, darkness has something to do with the time of year that we're coming up to, which is time of Purim. So because that's the only way that you could come to a condition of a Nitzira, v'tuchel lachzor imo apin ba'apin, kenizke v'drashi Rosh Hashanah. Let's look at this little bit of tiv here, and we'll go on from there. I'm not going to go to the number Daled yet. We could do that another time. Because Shechavitzarik lihafrid as a zun. So you want zun to be able to mate. He says you have to separate them. Sachadavukim ach ba'ach, which have one kosel and they're really stuck together. Sheyuchel lachzor la'aman panav b'panav l'hisyached. How do you make this happen? Sark shetipel al zechat Tardema. So we understand that. Hailish yistalku b'benda kol ha'mochin, that the mochim all have to leave. V'yanaz l'chav ha'mochim shalo me'ima atzmach her mochin do not have to go through Zeran Pin. She becomes independent right directly from Ima. This causes her to be able to remove herself from him. So her whole backside, she is going to become a complete backside of her own. Now she is a complete panim ba'ach. And she has the ability as an independent panim ba'ach. She's now able to face their anpin's panim. And now this has been explained. He said bedrashi Rosh Hashanah. Okay, so we'll come and we'll look at number Daled in the Shefa next time, and then we'll go here and move on. All right, let me stop this.